Okay, I was born October 23rd, 1976, to Judith Simeon, who's my mother. In Eunice, Louisiana, I was born. And my grandmother was Anastasia Simeon. My grandmother told me I used to have a reddish curly hair until they started cutting it off. She told me one time I had kind of the whooping cough where instead of going to a doctor, you have to have those old remedies to get rid of it. So I guess as I grew up, I started to try to understand what, why about people, about why they do the things they do, why they say the things they say. Sometimes I wanted to know as a kid why people would lie a lot. I remember as a kid watching cable television. I remember as a teenager doing the same, in my 20s, in my 30s, and I'm sure so on and so forth. And I realized that this is who I am. I am this young man. I mean, I am proud of the things that I've done, I've accomplished in this world. A lot of people haven't accomplished the things I have. So I appreciate what I've done. I guess in this world, if you don't appreciate the things you've done, then you'll never appreciate any and everything. I guess that's why sometimes I look at my situation, even though these experiences I have, and I ask myself, why, I maybe ask myself, Jesus, why is happening to me? I guess I try to test him, see if he's going to come to my rescue at the time I really need him. And I guess when I don't see that happening, then it frustrates me, and it makes me feel like he doesn't care. Then I guess when I look at my own situation, I think about, do I really care about him? What should I do? A sort of attitude. I mean, I care a little bit. It's like I got feelings, or my emotions are starting to kind of pour out a little bit, but I'm still reserved. I kind of have this brick wall in front of me, and I don't let too many people know how I really feel. But since I've been doing these documentaries, I'm now have expressed myself. I'm telling people about the things I went through, I'm going through, and hopefully it's going to help or change someone in this world. And I hope it helped change someone's life while you're watching this. So, back to the story of a teenager. It wasn't all bad. I remember going camping. I remember traveling around the United States. I remember going to all these different places, meeting these different people. I finally found out that people up north don't use a lot of seasoning like people down south. So, I mean, even if you go to the West Coast, you'll feel that climate change. It's a dry heat on the west side, and it's especially on the south side, or should I say around the southern states, it's a humidity type of heat, or moisture type of heat. And we had cookouts. I mean, we did different things. As a teenager, I did with my mother and brother. And I guess as time went on, it's just, I remember later on trying to open up a lot to people, but it's hard to open up sometimes when people already label you a stereotype. You're labeled weird, crazy. I mean, it's like in this strange and weird fact files. I'm labeled all the different things that I've done. And it's like people look at you and they give you a label. And that's all they see is that label. They don't see anything else. They don't see past that label. And that's something I'm trying to hopefully get people to understand. I mean, when people look at me, like I said, they think I have it going on. They think I'm smart. I read a lot. I do a lot of research. People, I guess, tend to look at me and say, well, he has it going on. But a lot of people don't know the crying I've done, all the, I guess, hurt, all the explicit language. It's like they look at me and then they say, well, he's crazy, or he's smart, or he's whatever label they can pin on me. Or if they talk about my racial background, oh, well, he looks white, or he's Hispanic, or he's Latino, or he's black, or he's mulatto, he's mixed. I've got all those different stereotypes, all those different labels that they label me. They classify me in a certain classification, and that's exactly who I am. And people in this world don't see me past that classification. And I guess I do the same thing, because I'm guilty myself of judging and not getting to know that person, who they are, what they're about. I guess in life, people in the world, they come into your life, and I believe that they come to help you or to change your circumstances. Sometimes financially, physically, emotionally, could be spiritually, and they usually come and they change you. Or should I say, instead of change you, they change your perspective sometimes in life. And I think a lot of people do that in this world. Boo Boo, which was this green stuffed bear, Pumpkin was that rabbit's name. And he was a little blue rabbit dressed in some overalls. Then I had Tutu, was my big brown bear, which I remember at one point we were pretending to fuss with one another, going back and forth with each other. And then Dog was that little small brown stuffed animal dog that I had. I really got fond of those animals, those stuffed animals. So I guess pretending was something I did often. Because even the cousins I have, like Chris, or should I say Christopher, Amanda, Gina, and my brother Caleb never really wanted to play with me. I guess I was that weird, crazy kind of vibe I had. So I guess when I started pretending and I started writing these songs, and I started in 1982, until sometimes years later, I'm doing it. But I guess pretending got me to a point where I could have started writing not just songs, but at the age of 14 started writing stories. I started writing lyrics to songs. I started trying to understand the notes to the music. As a teenager, I kind of grasped the knowledge of those things. Well, I know as time moved on, I guess I understand now why I've done it. Because I mean, even when I had, in every experience that I had, because I mean, I even had sexual experiences as well. I mean, with women, men, I've had those experiences of a lifetime. I mean, it's even a song that I've written. But as a teenager, going through a lot of that hell, I only thought that you watch things like this in movies, what people go through, physically abused, sexually abused as well. And I thought this was things you watched in as in a film. Some type of film company would make these films, and it was something you watch, not something you go through. But I guess it was to change me. Basically, as a kid, I was kind of a feminine. I had that feminine characteristics. And I guess going through this physical change, it changed my personality, who I was. It kind of toughened me up to be a man. Because as a kid, I remember saying, "Oh, child, I can't believe," you know how women would say things like that? And I guess I had to go to that point of being this little feminine young boy into this masculine man who kind of has feelings, not only for women but for men too. And I guess at that point I made that physical change. Not mental change, but that physical change. And as I went through that change, or as time moved on, I learned that it's not easy. I remember being broke, I remember being poor, I remember not having anything. I remember feeling, bad, feel like shit, like I don't give a fuck about this shit, or I don't care, or to hell with it, or who cares about it. That was, I guess, my attitude. And I guess I have that kind. Now, I know, as you know before, my name is Jeremiah Simeon. Well, this time I want to talk to you about when I was a teenager. I think years ago, when I was physically abused by my ex-stepfather, who was supposed to be a father figure, I believed, or should I say, that my mother believed that would change who I am. Well, I remember getting beat. I remember getting degraded. I remember one time my whole chest right here, blood started coming out of it. That's how hard he was hitting me. I remember being degraded. I remember being told that I was not smarter than this dog that we had, how I was less than him, how I just couldn't do anything, I would never be anything. I just felt so bad inside. It's like I just felt as though I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't even have really feelings of worth. I felt like I didn't even feel like I was worth anything. And I guess as time went on, I guess I feel like I ain't worth shit, really. Not only that, but think about trying to be chased with a knife or with a gun around the house, which it happened to me. I could remember a time where being thrown against a wall. I guess when you're the oldest, I guess you take a lot of shit, especially as a teenager. When you're the oldest teenager, I guess. I remember having a feeling that, man, this is hell. And I was with the devil himself. And I did feel like that at some point in my life. I guess that's just the way it goes in life. What I'm thinking is, when I was a kid, I didn't really have any friends. I was always a loner. I guess still today. I guess I am. And people judge you. Everybody in the world judge you. People do judge you. I was, I guess, labeled weird, crazy. I remember as a teenager, I wanted to one day, if just so happens they were making cyborgs, have my brain put into one of these cyborgs because I can live forever. Because I felt as though when you die, then you're gone forever. Well, actually, I found out years later that you're gone from this earth forever. You'll never return back. So I guess I was looking for another way of immortality. But for me to stay on this earth. I remember crying many times. I remember being frustrated, angry, depressed. I remember just being pissed off. Just didn't care about shit anymore. That's just that point in my life I just didn't. I remember, like I said, being labeled weird or crazy. I remember pretending a lot. I remember having these stuffed animals. I remember having, and I think I remember the name. Pumpkin was this rabbit, stuffed rabbit I won for selling so many things. So many candies, I think. Something like that. It's been years ago. And then I had to. I mean, I know when you have to pray a lot. I know you have to believe, fast, do those things. But when I was doing that, my dream hasn't come true when I was doing those things. And I kind of wondered to myself, why? Maybe I didn't have enough faith. I don't know. I remember going hungry one time. I remember my family not coming to see me, not coming to ask about me, what I've done. I remember. Or if it was to come see me, they needed money, or a place to stay, or whatever, or something to eat. Sometimes I feel I'm being used, not only at the different jobs I have, but my family life as well. I feel like people use me, and they don't really understand who I really am. And I guess that makes me frustrated. It gets to a point in my life where I cannot trust anyone. Trust is something you earn, and I believe that. I guess as the life move on, I guess I'll start to understand more. I mean, I went to college. I have some college education. I went there. I didn't really want to go. It wasn't something I wanted to do, but I did it. And I felt as though when I was going through all these different situations, sometimes you feel bad. Sometimes I look on the past and I see what I've done, and I say, well, I don't want to make that mistake, try to do those things again. But I guess I realized that you'll always make mistakes. Sometimes I don't want things that I'm doing. I don't want the mistakes. I want to try to avoid the mistakes. But I learned in life you're going to make mistakes with any and everything, because that's all part of life. Life, that's how life is. You're going to make mistakes no matter what, because you're a human being. You're imperfect. Unless you're a spiritual being, then you're perfect. But as a human being, you will always be imperfect. Yo, this is the government control. Have you ever noticed that the government have been telling you different things? Do you know about the government control? They wanna put you in your place. They don't give a shit in life. This is your place. A new world to see. Everybody want to be what they want to be. It's a government control, government conspiracy. Just like J-Rock government. The Lord shall come. The Lord shall come. and you know it. So finally we all can be happy. We can say the Lord shall come. You know it. The Lord shall come. Come on and say it. The Lord shall come. I want to hear His voice come to me. I know He loves me. Can I talk to you? And can I talk to you? It seems our society is at war with itself. We cannot win if we don't try. We need to have peace in all the land. The son of a king, a mighty man in God's sight, a man of wonder, sheer delight, a prince, a man, this is his night. Open arms of miracles might. Time for him to bow in God's sight. Full of power in his hands. Surely love will conquer the land. He is the keeper of his Father's house. Like the angel that guard. Fear not of evil's sight. Come to the light of God's sight. I could remember a time where my cousin Chris and myself and my brother would talk about what we've done as children. I remember even doing a short film with one of my brother's friends. It was called Vladimir, which is a story that I've written. And I remember doing that with my other cousins, Amanda and Gina, and my brother Caleb. And I remember using a 16mm to shoot the film. I remember starting a short film called House of Terror. It's a story I've written. Unfortunately, the film didn't come out, so apparently we never got a chance to watch it. But I've seen a lot of these old films on 16mm on a projector. We've seen a lot. For myself as a kid, I remember watching the video coming back in time. And I remember it was myself, my brother, my cousin Chris, and a friend of ours named Brandon. And I remember my cousin Chris having this trumpet, and I wanted to play it. And I guess I was kind of a mean kid, as you would see the video. And I didn't want anybody grabbing the clothesline. I remember grabbing that flute from my cousin, playing it, and my cousin grabbing it, and I remember being mad. I remember having different toys. I remember my brother and I, when we were kids, one day we cut grass and we had money. I remember he getting me some plastic animals. I remember also having some plastic G.I. Joes. I remember having a Submariner. It was Submariner was the name of that toy, but I remember it was this shark. It looked like a shark, and if you open it, inside it was a little transformer, and that was part of the Transformers. I remember my cousin Chris gave me the Galvatron, that transformer we had. I remember that. I remember listening to different music and enjoying it. I remember listening to Prince's music, what they call Prince Roger Nelson. I remember listening to Michael Jackson's music, Michael Joseph Jackson, and I remember Madonna Ciccone, her music, listening to those artists, enjoying that. But not only just that, I remember as a kid having a small radio. I remember this little reddish radio my mother gave to us. I remember not only that, but listening to music. I remember we bought some plastic swords at one time. I remember how my cousin kind of being, I guess, jealous because we didn't have it. So actually his father was jealous, so he bought those plastic swords for his son, a cousin of mine, Chris. I remember also buying different CDs. I remember my brother, my cousin, started listening to them. Sometimes when I was doing the things I was doing, I remember at some point that people, it's like they were almost envy of what I've had. Today it's still the same thing. I feel people jealous of the things I have, things I'm doing, what I'm doing in my life, and I think people are angry, upset, jealous, envy, whatever you want to call it. And I think they are. I used to be a shy young man. I was shy, I remember. I remember taking French in high school and Spanish. I remember taking it in elementary school. I remember going to eat lunch at this cafeteria at Lawtell Elementary. Northwest High School was the high school I went to. I remember I hated school. I did. I hated school. I learned different things in school, but I hated going to school. I was kind of a good speller as a kid. As a teenager, I was a good speller. I remember my brother asking me to spell different things. Mathematics was something I really liked too, I remembered. And just, man, I would always hope for the summertime. And every summer, I would create different shows. I would pretend to create different shows, pretending to be on television, going to theaters, different things like that. I remember writing. I remember my cousin Caleb, Amanda, Gina, and my brother Caleb watching one of my films. I remember just pretending a lot. I guess that's why I'm creative right now, because I pretend a lot. doing a lot of different things. And my favorite singers that I said, Prince, Madonna, Michael, kind of my, I guess, mentors. Like, I wouldn't say idol, because I would think the only idol I really would have would probably be Jesus, would be the only idol. But kind of mentoring. I feel as though I'm kind of similar to these people. I'm kind of a little freaky, conservative, or kind of a little bit childish, all mixed up together. But I remember also as a kid not having what a lot of kids want. I remember one time I really wanted my mother and grandmother to afford a video camera. Years later, I remember getting a VHS video camera thanks to the help of my grandmother and giving me a little bit of money, and for myself saving up. I remember getting a VHS video camera. I was in my 20s. I remember telling the story how all those CDs I was buying, credit was building up, I'll pay like probably $50 some for it. I remember just different, it's like different clips of my memories I remember. I also remember kind of being forced to do a little bit of mechanic work. I remember my brother used to do it. He started as a kid, trying to fix lawnmowers and stuff. I even remember how my grandmother and mother was very proud of him doing those things. And it was just like when I would pretend and do these different things, they weren't proud. It was like they were telling me almost like give up on my dream. I remember my mother and my ex-stepfather was telling me to stop writing, give up on my dream, don't do this, you'll never amount to anything if you're doing this. And I remember doing that. I remember trying to do any and everything to get in the entertainment business because it's something I'm really interested in doing. I mean, like I said, I am in it now. It's years ago. All these different things from my past. And it was like money is the key. Sometimes when you don't have money or if you're not financially secure, it's kind of hard trying to believe sometimes I feel. Because it's hard when you're trying to do your best. You know, I feel like as though if you are pushing towards a goal, you're doing what you were supposed to do, you pushing as hard as you can, I feel that you should be able to get what you want. Because that's how I feel in life. Because why would all these people who don't do anything, or jack or shit or whatever, how these motherfuckers get everything they want? How do these people get what they want if they're not pushing and struggling and doing unless their family have money? Usually in most cases these people have money. And I don't understand why a lot of these people have money and they splurge their money. They don't even know what to do with money. You know what, I used to hate a lot of rich people because at one point in my life it was just like these rich people have everything. They have the money, they have the clothing, all the material things you don't have. And then years later I guess I learned that not even the rich man can sleep because he's with other rich woman because he or she worried about it, they gonna steal their money, scam them, do God I don't know what. And sometimes you got money today, here today, gone tomorrow. Sometimes you might be rich today, tomorrow you're poor. I never thought about the concept like that until years later. It was like, man, I couldn't understand it. But I remember saying to myself at 10 years old, if I was ever rich, I'd be able to do the things that I want to do. I remember being 10 years old and looking for a job. Well, not really looking, but hoping that I could find one. I really wanted to find a job at 10. I had a feeling that I'd be able to work in and everywhere. It's kind of true, to a certain point. I remember watching television with my cousin of mine. Rose Guillory, who I thought later like great aunt, not really great aunt, yeah, kind of like, and Horace Guillory, who's a cousin of mine, but I call him kind of like my great uncle. And I remember one time my brother had to go to the hospital, and my mother and my grandmother stayed, and I had to spend a night at Rose and Big's house. I didn't really like it sometimes. I remember one time I did spend a night there. My mother told us, well, we had a floppy disk computer, an old floppy disk computer, and I could play with it if I went spend a night, and I didn't really want to go. I went, but I remember coming back, and I remember not playing with that computer because we were kind of punished. I remember mother whipping me. I remember we had took some money out of my cousin's purse. I think it was each 50 cents she had. It was $1. I remember. She never kept much in her purse. I believe she spent majority of her money. She probably kept 4 quarters only. That was it. I remember doing those. I remember not only pretending but enjoying myself, doing the things that I want to do. I remember talking a lot of shit, a lot of smack. I remember as a kid experiencing different sexual, I guess sex. I remember my brother and I remember dressing up in this kind of, I guess a dress. Like I remember painting my fingernails white. I remember when I was going to school how some of these kids would paint these male kids would paint their fingernails with white fingernail polish. So said it was approved that they could do shit like that. I remember that. I remember experiencing sex with a cousin of mine, Chris. I remember with Brandon. I remember with Amanda. I remember with the girl next door. Her name was Rhonda. I remember that. I remember another cousin of mine from California. He's been gone, dead, passed away, whatever. We kind of fool around a little bit. I remember my ex-stepbrother, James Jr., I guess you can call him. Yeah, that was his name, James Jr. Sound like my ex-stepfather's name too, James. Oh man. We did a little fooling around. I remember also my brother and I we did a lot of pretend together. I remember when I was going to work, I remember having an old Oldsmobile Cutlass. I remember an old Chevrolet car I used to have, and the Oldsmobile was a car. I remember my great uncle used to let me borrow this little brown, kind of a little Chevrolet 4-door car. I remember starting to learn how to drive as a teenager, but I was nervous. My mother taught me, my ex-stepfather taught me, and my uncle taught me, which is Paul Simeon, and his new wife at the time was my ex. Not ex, really. I mean, I did have an ex-aunt that he had married named Judy, kind of similar to my mother's name, but Florence was his new wife, so she was my aunt. I remember driving one time and I was too slow. I was too slow for her. I remember driving to college, first time driving to college on my own. I remember a little Isuzu my grandmother left me before she died, car. And man, I remember a lot of these vehicles giving me trouble. I remember going to work and it's like people piss you off. You working in a job. I don't know what it is. When I work at a job, I be pissed off. I don't know why. I guess I'm aggravated or agitated or whatever. I don't really understand why. But I knew I was. I can even remember enjoying these jobs. Sometimes I say I didn't like the job, I didn't care about the job, or that I didn't care that it was just a hole in the wall, or a hell place where, you know, man, this is a hell raiser type of place, something that you just don't care, don't like, don't want to be bothered with. I remember working a lot of jobs, being in physical pain, mental, emotional, and spiritual pain. I remember all that. I remember going to these different churches, I guess trying to find some spiritual peace, I guess, or actually peace, and not really finding hardly anything. Or I started to feel something, and then months down the road, I didn't anymore. Sometimes you just don't understand a lot of different things, and I really don't. I kind of want to read a passage from the Bible. What it is, it's about homosexuality. And like I said, a lot of stuff that was written in the Bible some was misinterpreted. It was makes basically in Arabic, Greek, and these people had to translate it. So it says Romans first chapter, verse 26. And it starts saying, well, for this, because God gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change their natural use into which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving their natural use of the woman, burning in their lust one towards another. Men with men working which is unseemly, and receiving themselves that recomprehends of the error which was met. And that was verse 26 and 27. Let me go on a little bit. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them up to reprobate minds, to do these things which are not convenient. No, covenant. Being filled with unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, malice, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignant whispers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to their parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasures in them that do them. And when I started reading that certain section, especially those certain verses, you kind of get an understanding of, not just for homosexuality, you get an understanding of mankind. When they said deceit, covenant breakers and all that, today is like people today, this is what they are. Backbiters, they haters, they hate you and stuff like that. And I don't understand a lot of stuff that people do, but I kind of understand like a concept, or from someone's point of view, because sometimes you don't know what somebody going through unless you walk into their shoes, and you don't really know. Because I don't know everything about everybody, but I know everybody all feel the same. Everybody in the world I know is looking for love. Everybody's looking for it. You might be looking for it in the wrong way, but everybody's looking for love. No matter who you are, you're looking for love. Or you're looking for some attention, or you're looking for people to care about you. You're always looking for love. That's something that everybody in the world is looking for. I know that kids always tell different stories, or lie, or don't really tell the truth, if you want to call it. I did that many occasions too. I remember doing some things I shouldn't be doing. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff I probably forgot during the times. But I remember having even not just a stepbrother, but a stepsister. And like I said, not too long ago I found out about my real father, who's Herman Diaz, and his son Damien Diaz. I have a sister that I know about. And I guess you get a sense of most of his family were kind of French background, mostly his French background. So I guess I get a sense of who I am and what I'm doing and the things I want to do. And I think life, that's what it deals with. Who you are, what you're doing, how you're doing, the things that you do. That's what it's all about. That's what I think it is. And I guess in time, like I said before, I guess I'll learn different things. I guess I'll be who I'm supposed to be. You know what I thought years ago? I thought I was supposed to be some preacher. A lot of people think I should be some preacher or whatever, or a prophet or whatever. I feel as though I'm just one man trying to make a difference. One man trying to do something. One man trying to learn. One man going through a lot of hell, financially, spiritually, emotionally. Probably being sued, being taken advantage of, being hurt, being misunderstood, representative, probably misrepresented, everything. Probably doing writing, singing, acting, modeling, dancing, trying to just make ends meet. And I don't think it'll work. Sometimes I think like that, it'll never work out. But I'm sure it will. As time moves on, it will. I also remember my brother and I had gotten some Transformer toys. It was some type of Transformer. It was some insect Transformers. I forgot the name of what they were. But I remember we used to play with that. I remember Florence's daughter Jeanette had lived with us, cleaning up. I remember one time she was on the phone and they had a contest on TV. We wanted to hurry up and call and tell them the answer. Everything, we delayed it. Everything was late. I remember my mother saying that she couldn't talk on the phone anymore. I remember this lady that she knew, Lisa. Well, her husband Dennis has been dead years ago. And they came stay at one time with us. I remember my brother and my cousin Chris was thinking about all staying together, living together at one point. We did live together at one point, went to school together. We did that. I remember sometimes waking up early in the morning, watching cartoons on a Saturday morning. Waking up at 5 or waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, doing that. I remember I enjoyed myself as a kid, but I think I wanted to grow up too fast. That was the point. And I think that I shouldn't have. I should have been a kid, not wanted to be a grown-up. Shucks. Now that I am, a lot of things. I even kind of want to elaborate on one artist. There's an artist I don't have, and I got him on MySpace. He's a friend of mine. His name is Joseph. He's Dead Lee, they call him. Fascinating young man. Music is, well, he is too, but his music is fascinating. And I kind of like his material. And I guess now and then I might be thinking about that homeboy. He lives in LA, California. I wouldn't mind hooking up with him, especially in the entertainment business, doing something. I think I've tried any and everything what to do. I mean, I even had thoughts about fooling around with a young lady, but like we have knives or guns in our hands. I guess I'm kind of a sick, perverted freak or whatever. Guess that's why I'm weird. That's why I've got the strange and weird fact files of myself, those things. Sometimes, you know, I thought about maybe hurting someone, killing someone. It's like I have the power to just destroy a man. I also remember pulling down branches, trees, bare hands. I remember people being amazed at what I've done and doing. I don't understand that sometimes. I remember doing just different things, masturbating, jacking off. You think, doing things like that, just I guess trying to fulfill myself. Sometimes I'm not fulfilled. I try to fulfill myself doing those things. So it's difficult. It is very difficult at sometimes. I guess when it comes to a woman, what I'm interested in is probably brown skin, Hispanic, Latino women. Basically, a lot of minority women that I like. I remember people asking me. I remember going to high school and they would ask me about that. When you eat out a woman, do you use a fork, spoon, knife, or whatever? They were kind of bullshitting about that shit. I hated when they would ask me questions like that. Questions about sex. Now for a man, it could be anything. You know, the real dark skin, a lot of dark skinned brothers, Hispanics, Latinos. I think I like all different flavors. So basically, I guess bottom line with these documentary, this trilogy that I've done, I guess now you'll be able to see the deepest inner thoughts, things that happen in my life that I've done. Trying to work honestly. I remember, I guess sometimes I feel as though if you do dirty things, you know, steal or whatever, or hurt people or whatever, that people get away with that shit and you never notice. And if I would do something like that, what would happen to me, the consequences. I even talk about people going to jail, things that they've done. Now they go to jail, they're paying for it. If they would have did the right thing. What if I was on that path and I didn't do the right thing? I went to jail, I stole, I killed, I did everything that I could think of, and I didn't. I could have went down that path, but I chose not to. And it's not easy. It's hard. Try to do the right thing, but it's not impossible to do the right thing. And I think that the things that I've done, I enjoy doing it. Oh, I'm kind of looking for, like I said before, kind of a soulmate for a woman kind of my size. I'm looking for a woman that's my size or a guy that's my size. Buffed up guys that can be buffed up or good, athletic, whatever. Cool. A woman can be athletic. I think a woman has a chance of doing whatever she want to do, especially just like a man has it. I think we all have the right to do what we want to do. According to the limit guidelines, when you have certain limits, certain guidelines, you can do it. Our ancestors probably did God knows what. People want to talk about how a lot of these Europeans had a lot of these African slaves or Indian slaves. A lot of people don't know in Europe they had a lot of white slaves too. A lot of people from Europe sent all their criminals here to the United States. I guess that's why a lot of people talk about all that bullshit of people doing these malicious things. And I think as though, well, I guess the concept, everybody hates something about somebody because of just who they are, the way they dress, how their hair is, I guess. But eventually in life you got to learn to give it up, all that shit up. Learn that diversity is good. I'm glad that everybody's different in a way. It's a world I want to live in. I do not want to live in a world where everybody thinks the same, they dress the same, act the same. This is a boring world. This world where we all diverse, this is the perfect world where everybody can thrive in. And I believe that. So I guess in my conclusion, I guess, with those things that I've done, good and bad, right or wrong, I thought about, in my mind, when somebody had something, I wish I could have it, I wish I could take it, or go in the stores, wish I could take this, take that, have everything. I wish I could have a lot of stuff I want. That's how it is, having a lot of stuff. Even if it's just something small as a wallet, bandana, something. Sometimes I guess in life people wish to have everything they want. And then sometimes they never get it, or if they get it, they're older now. I guess as you get older, you get the things that you need, not what you want, years later. And I guess it's at times it'll be hard to struggle, to move forward into doing what I want to do, how I want to do it, the way I want to do it. And I guess I just feel bad. I feel like as though, man, sometimes there's no hope for tomorrow. But I guess there is. With everything you do, I'm sure there's hope for something in this world. I do want to say that I appreciate Matthew Gonzalez, Zales, my artist. I appreciate my partner Steve Thompson in Florida. Matt lives in New York. I do appreciate Michael Bellamy, M. Canav in Massachusetts. I do appreciate those. I appreciate every artist I could think of at the moment. I do appreciate it. I think they've kind of helped me in a way move forward into the things that I want to do and the way I want to do it. Probably think of Shazar James Chavis and Stephen Campagna, even Stephen. And I guess some other artists I'm trying to think that helped me. And I do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody, though, whatever they've done. Every artist, my music family, whatever you've done, I appreciate it. From the bottom of my heart, I do. Because I couldn't have made it without having the people that I needed by my side, at least. Not physically sometimes, but emotionally. I do. I want to thank TJ Tony Harper, who lives in Kentucky. Thank him as well. And just appreciate life. I even appreciate Alfred Jr. that came into my life as a cousin of mine, even that I met as I was working a job. I appreciate that. I remember one time I was in 4th grade writing lyrics for this guy named L.C. Freeman, Larry Charles Freeman. And I remember having a certain expressive word. Then the word was called fuck, and I wasn't supposed to have that in my lyrics. I wasn't. It was like, man, I remember him giving that paper to the teacher, and I remember she let me. It's like scolding me about it. I remember one time I was at school, and these other bigger kids was forcing me to fight this other boy. I remember fighting. They forced us to fight. I remember that, and I hated that. Because, man, it was like it wasn't me. And it was like they were going to beat me up, or they were going to... It was like they were almost blackmailing me. And I felt like that was wrong. Now I get a lot of praises now for what I'm doing. A lot of praises, what I'm doing, the way I'm doing it, how I want to do it. So, I understand now that I got the fame, fortune, spotlight, everything. And now I'm going through this other journey. And I'm going to wait to see what it's about. I want to say goodbye for the final time. Love you. Love you, baby. You know I do. So, to everyone, I want to tell you I love you. Thank you. I appreciate you. You 1 in a million. Love you, baby. I love you. Well, I love you, baby. Okay? Thank you. Well, I'm gonna tell you something, Jay Wood. You ain't got to put up with my shit. Because I'm tired anyway. And I don't care what my brother is doing. I'm about to straighten it shit up. I'm about to straighten everybody out. This is the situation that's going on. And nobody has to worry about me. Well, as you know, my name is Jerry. Jeremiah Simeon. Jerry is one of my other names, nicknames. I wanted to tell people that I did at one point think about committing suicide twice in my life. I guess when you think people don't love you, you try to kill yourself. And I think that was something I tried to do. And I guess it didn't really happen. The first time I was unemployed. I didn't have a job. My grandmother just passed away. And I was getting ready to hang myself. I saw what I did was I found they had an extension cord near a bed where the church is now. It used to be a house I was living in. Well, I had the doors open, the front and back door open, and I wanted to go ahead and do it. I was standing in the back door and I saw the tree, and it's like I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. The second time, my brother, his wife, which is Caleb Simeon, Pamela Rito, now she's a Simeon, and Caleb and Nyla, who lived with me where the church is now, which is used to be my house. I was about to commit suicide in the little storage room that was on the side of my house, where now is the entrance to the church. And I just couldn't. At that time, I was just financially unable. I was just mad. I was just emotionally, physically, and I guess spiritually messed up. So I decided not to go through it. And what happened is I had to call someone for the Trinity Broadcast Network, or TBN, and I talked to a lady and told her what I was going through, and she prayed for me, and I think that kind of helped me a little bit. I guess in the next morning, my brother, his wife, well, I told him I had called someone, and because I needed prayer, and I guess they thought I called a psychic, which to me at the time wasn't really funny. But I think I made it through. Forbidden Love. I'm going to read this. Once upon a time, there were two boys and two girls who want to fall in love. Isn't that something? Two boys want to fall in love and two girls want to fall in love. Forbidden love. That is why a man can only have one woman. And that is why a woman can only have one man. No three ways or orgies or sexual favors. Forbidden love. That's the message, the key. Okay, This is Reaping Brothers, Rainbow Boys. Watching online, you know it is a sign. Get with them, the pleasure of greeting them. You say you love them, you call them, invite them, sing to them, love them, kiss and tell when you are with them. Feelings are not spread. Feelings you will stare, and the feelings are not spared at all. The night is young, the brothers are hung. Now it is time to go out. Make your plea and get out. Email them for fun. Swing by for lunch. The weight you carry is a ton. But you honor them. You cherish them. You know them and understand them. Supernatural prayer. Fire shut up in my bones. A strong God who provides for us. You're never alone. Say your prayers, so demons of lust will not be with you. Sing unto the Most High. You're lifted up above. We gave glory to a higher power, whose kingdom is as high as a tower. Supernatural prayer, a prayer we all need. Keeping us apart. Look what you've done. Look what you're doing. You don't want to be together. You don't care about me. You don't worry. You don't swear. You say to me, you don't care. I want to love you. You know we could be lovers. But because of you, I'm not. I want to be together. You know we could be together if you cared about us. But one day, soon, we will be together. I believe that. I think each one of us has a talent. And like I said before, I'm kind of like a jack of all trades with my talent. So it's very interesting to find out that people have talent in the world. I think you need to pursue your talent. If it's something you like to do, I think you should do it. But I think whatever talent you have, use your talent. Always use your talent wisely. Because it's something that I believe that Jesus gave all of us talent, and I think we need to do something with it. This, I think, is something that we all need to be able to do. If you have a talent, use it or lose it. I heard that you can lose your talent if you don't use it. So I think we should all use our talent for something. The art I usually create, that's what it is. Every time I do a short film of any videos, documentary, it could be an acapella video or whatever it is, it's art. Even if I have any and everything that I add to my art. Art can be poetry, it could be stories, it could be drawings, it could be music, video, it could be anything. That's what art is. Art is whatever the artist creates. That's what art is. A lot of people probably don't like it because I kind of exploit my body as well in this artistic. But the deal is this is who I am. And this is the artwork I present to everyone in the world that watches my art. This is it. This is who I am. So to recap, I guess, with everything, after the outer body experience, after I had a chance to see these different spirits, after I had a chance to have these different jobs, after I've been in the entertainment business, after I've gotten all of my dreams to come true, and throughout any and everything that I've done, I've enjoyed it. Now I want to recap everything that I've talked about, from the jobs that I had to the books that's been published, 2 books that's been published, 2 journal companies that took me on, the CD that came out, this documentary I'm doing, the short film that I've done, to getting some of my artists into some of these other film companies, have their music exposed, have mine exposed on radio and through film, especially this film, having my material spread out, especially online on the internet, and also with all my artists, and everything that happened in my life. As a child, I think I had a pretty decent childhood. I think I have. As a teenager, it was rough. When you have an ex-stepfather that's trying to beat you, it's rough. Until I became a man, I think my life pretty much is interesting. It's worth watching. It's worth reading about, because my novel, The History of Jerry, is worth it. And this documentary is worth it. Or should I say, all these documentaries that I've done is worth it. I think that there are things my mother and my brother, we disagree on. I think, yes, I probably need to pray more. I need to have more faith. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good for a young man, especially me. I'm a country boy. I am a country boy, and I'm doing pretty good. I mean, but despite of all the debts I owe that I'm trying to pay out and things like that, I'm enjoying myself. I think I am. And I think it'll work out at the end. I think things do work out at the end, and it'll take time for me to work things out. But I do have confidence that I will make a difference. I'm hoping I'm making a difference. Not only being part as an activist of HIV and AIDS, and also being an activist of this one campaign. I think that I am making a difference. I want to make a difference. I want people to watch my documentaries. I want them to listen to my music, read my stories, read my poetry, and I want people to get an understanding of who I am. That's basically what I want. And I'm hoping that's what people get out of it. I hope they get some type of message out of everything I'm doing. That's the basic thing. I know probably my information is all over the world, as well as my name. And I do appreciate people contacting me, letting me know what kind of impact I have on their life. Because there are so many people in the world, so many lives you can touch. And I hope I've touched a lot. of people, especially the lives that they live in. I hope I've done that. I guess that's basically what I'm hoping to get out at the end. I guess whenever I pass away, what I've accomplished, not even what I've accomplished, but what I've met, whatever message, anything that I've done, the messages, whatever it is, I hope I've impacted someone's life. I've learned in my life that basically when you say your prayers, you usually say it to God or Jesus, whoever you want to call him. A lot of people have been taught years down the road, or should I say from generations to different generations. A lot of them thought about praying to the saints, to Mary, or to any of the angels. But I think bottom line is, basically, the prayers will, I think if you have to pray, you pray to Jesus only. That's basically my, I guess, motto. Well, or should I say what I believe, basically. Because a lot of people believe in purgatory. And I think a lot of people also believe in reincarnation and other things like that. But basically, I don't believe in probably all of these things. Well, you know what? Let me not say I don't believe. Let me just kind of clarify and say that you never know what can happen. Even though I had all this spiritual experience, even though I've had a lot of physical experience, emotional experience, I've learned you can't dismiss a lot of stuff. So, in the end, bottom line, you'll find out if everything you believe is true. And if you do, and if it is, then you'll know. Other than that, we'll have to find out. That through this documentary that you're gonna watch, I also kind of talked about some of the ladies I like to hook up with. I think at some point in my life I do think about having a family or starting a family. I do. And it'd be nice to find a young lady that I could hook up with to start a family, because I kind of have this idea of starting a family. I guess as you get older, I guess, especially as a man, I think you want to start a family. And it's something that I'm thinking about a lot lately. So, I guess if I could find that special lady, I probably would. I'd probably date her for probably 6 months to a year and see. You never know how it works out. You never know how life works out either. I guess you just gotta take a chance. A lot of people also talk about evolution. How man, they used to have prehistoric man. And how we evolved to the human beings we are. But we used to be microbes, microorganisms in the rivers. You could say the oceans and rivers. You know, I've learned a lot throughout history as well. And if you think about it, they talk about everything from how the founding fathers, how they formed this government that we have now, how a lot of people left these European countries to come to the new land, which is the United States, how, should I say North America, and how a lot of these kings and queens got rid of a lot of these people from England who were in prison. Majority of the people that came were murderers, thieves, a lot of people who were in prison. That's what these kings and queens didn't want. They overcrowded in England. I remember listening to a teacher and also reading about history, about Columbus who discovered the Caribbeans. I guess that was the new city he did, the new country he discovered. I said city, but it's actually a country. I also heard talk about Freemasons, and I've watched documentaries on that, and that's just something that I have different things. I also hear about different religion. There's Catholic, Baptist, Buddhist, all of these different religions. They have Jewish, have different religions. I'm sure every culture in the world have different religions, from Mexicans to Hispanics, Latinos. I'm sure every race you could think of. I'm sure from Hindu to, I'm sure all these people from India, from what used to be the Soviet Union, all these people from the continent of Africa to Australia to Europe to Asia to South America and now North America. So, I mean, history, if you think about it, history, bottom line is, in history they had slaves. I believe today there's still slavery. Throughout history, a lot of people believe the white man basically did a lot of bad things, especially when it comes to slavery. But a lot of people don't know that they had white slaves too. A lot of people don't know that. So it wasn't just, African American slaves or Hispanics, Latinos or Mexicans, whatever slavery that everybody in the world, I believe, especially, should I say, whatever racial background you belong to, there was slavery with everyone. And I think it's slavery today. Because if you think about it, if you think very hard, that if there's heaven and hell, and there's Jesus and the devil, then if you think about it, that these people who enslave other people and probably practice a lot of black arts and stuff is enslaved themselves. So everybody, I think, in the world is enslaved with something. You are slave to something. You just probably don't think twice about it. But you could be a slave to money. You could be a slave to any material things, physical. It could be physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever it is. You're a slave to something. You just don't think twice about it, but you are. And I think that a lot of people just don't understand that, yes, we as a society in the world just something that you have to think about before you do. And if you don't think about it, then I guess it doesn't really matter. But there's a lot of things we need to think about in this world before you start acting on them. Yes, a lot of people talk about hungry children in Africa, but there's hungry children around the world. There's hungry people in this whole world. So it's not just one continent. It's on every continent, every country that you could think of. There's always somebody that's hungry, homeless, that's in need. I think everybody in the world is in need. A lot of people just don't admit it. A lot of people in the world think that they have it going on, and sometimes they don't. That's just kind of a recap of some of the things I've talked about, and some of the things I probably will be talking about soon to come. I would like to also thank King of Music Records for helping me. Throughout all these companies that have helped me, I do appreciate each and every one of them that has helped me, especially my companies. Because it's hard to get hooked up in this entertainment business. It's very hard. But I really do thank each and every one person that has helped me throughout this business. All my artists, family, church family. I say artists, but music family. All of my family and around the world that has helped me. I do appreciate it. And every company I hooked up with, I do appreciate it. Then, thank you.